paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, yeah, it's downright refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason. Alright.
Vagabond's awesome.
This podcast.
And just for the record, Jason is still getting destroyed in Cookie Clicker.
What record? You're the only one caring about this.
I said Jason is getting destroyed at Cookie Clicker. I didn't say it was a record.
You said for the record.
Oh.
You literally did.
No, I was like, I didn't say anything about a record. I didn't set a record on the game.
I'm drinking a beer somebody gave me.
My mind went to world record immediately.
Listen up here, bud. Get it twisted. Corbin is whipping your Cookie Clicker.
Oh no, really?
Jason, I've had Cookie Clicker running for 3 or 4 years.
That's the saddest thing I've ever
Corbin,
heard.
do you turn your computer off ever?
No.
So Jason's
I try
looking
not
in the electric bill, then. Corbin has spent like $400 on a Cookie Clicker passively just through his electric bill.
I didn't turn
If that were Bitcoin instead of Cookie Clicker, you probably would have made $100,000.
Wait. Yo, SWU stocks is actually up and it's great.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that during the episode.
Yeah. I already made like several $1,000s off this game.
Oh, Star Wars? Okay. That's fine.
Right now we're Corbin for using all of the power in Oklahoma.
How'd you
never
make
turned
several
it off
$1,000s on a game where the most expensive single is under $80?
It's not. There's all the showcase cards. I bought a ton of the showcase cards because people were just buying them regardless of the price.
Yeah.
And someone would just come on and match market price. And like, they like listed a showcase guy for like 170 because that was market price. I buy it for 170, list it for 350, and sell it. And market price is so slow to adapt on TCG Player that I just sold like 15 or 20 of them.
Awesome.
It was like the only work I could actually do while I was sick and playing Balatro. The real takeaway from that, and this can go on the podcast if we can find a way to splice it in, is that when you make special things for a game, even if the game's not established, and there's only like one special thing, people will buy it regardless of price point. People are quality sensitive, not price sensitive when it comes to buying the like nice version of a card. Generally speaking.
Yeah. Especially when, like, they don't care about what the text on the card is.
Well, they specifically do in this game. Like, that's the thing. Like, people are... The ones that are the most expensive card in the game is the best card, and it's, like, the nicest version of the best card. And, like, the cheapest of the showcase ones are, like, the bad beaters.
So it's not, like, Star Wars fans buying a card without giving... It's, like, Star Wars card game fans buying the cards?
Kind of. So, okay.
It's both.
So the most expensive...
We started the episode...
Boba Fett is the best... Yeah. Boba Fett is the best unit in the game, like the best leader in the game, arguably, and also the best, like the most expensive card, which kind of makes sense. Like the Leia's kind of bad, but also like the third most expensive of the leaders. So there's some amount of like people buying their faves, but also, you know, I feel like Cassian Andor had an entire TV show about him, and he shouldn't be the third cheapest showcase leader. You know,
Sure.
He had a TV show.
the card's just like unplayable. What's that?
He had a TV show, not a movie in the 70s. Like,
I mean, like
nobody. I wonder what the Venn diagram of people who saw Star Wars in the theater and people who know how to work Disney Plus now.
That's
shrinking every day.
yeah.
The list of people is shrinking every day.
That's true. That's true. That's depressing, Jason. Why you got to make it sad? We're doing a little podcast here, little Brainstorm Brewery rolling in.
Alexa, work with Google to show me the Star Wars.
I made people
Corbin.
unhappy using math.
Mortality comes for us all, buddy. Don't worry about it. It'll get you when it gets you.
He knows that better than Corbin the Greybeard.
I've never had
over here.
glass in my face. I feel like if I had glass in my face, I wouldn't be need to be told that death comes for us all. If it came for me and missed.
You know, someone brought this up to me the other day because they they have a new partner, and they were introducing everyone, and blah blah blah. And I've realized that I don't have to say anything. My lore precedes me, and I thank all of you for that.
Your lore precedes you.
You're like a soggy garbage bag. Like that is like that what your lore is? You show up and just like, oh, it's
Hey,
this guy.
he's canonically a soggy garbage bag.
You're the Jerry of this podcast.
Jerry,
Rick and Morty Jerry.
it was his. It was called Jerry. It was called Seinfeld. It was Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, well, if you're the
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld of this cast, you're too dumb to know that's not a compliment.
Welcome into the show, everybody. As you know quite a lot about this show already, because, say it, our lore precedes us. Welcome in. But today we're going to talk about what is going on here in Magic and what is going on with some other games, including one that we teased some number of weeks ago, and we've been trying to get to since then. The four of us are together for the first time in a hot minute, which is great.
And now we're going to be rich.
Cass has a one-of-a-kind collectible that we made happen thanks to all of our generous sponsors and patrons, patreon.com/BSB, who made this reveal possible. Go ahead, Cass.
Also, thanks to the person editing this cast, actually. We have a guest editor this week.
Oh, no. What are we
because
doing
JJ is out.
doing to them? Oh,
Well,
no.
well, and Matt is the one who messaged me originally and pitched this as a thing we should do.
Oh, well, then you brought it on yourself. Yeah, look at that. Let's see it.
Little boy crazy, a little Jason Colorado. You can trade this for a lifetime supply of feminized marijuana seeds, which I believe are the kind that grow.
Feminized marijuana seeds?
Read Jason.
That's what his
Everything
website
has
says.
to be woke now. You can't just have regular alpha seeds that germinate. No, you gotta have fem bottom seeds that are like, ooh, germinate me, daddy. We need feminized. This is bullshit.
Trans Day of Visibility. How dare you bring this up on not Trans Day of Visibility?
It was Easter, you
I just want to hear about Jason Colorado. We need to know, what is the story? Why do we have this card? It's been so long, I forget, which is going to be...
We have the femboy marijuana card here because this individual, Jason Colorado, was selected to be a model for this card game, Boy
He's
Crazy.
from Colorado.
And he is from Colorado. And
His
apparently,
name's not
a couple years
Colorado.
ago-
He's not a character in Thunder Junction. Or
I don't know
Dune.
his real last name.
He's from Dune. Hey, I've been on this planet for 17 years fighting the sandworms. My name is Jason Colorado.
So, there was I think it was a Japanese card collector who just kind of collected card games generically, who noticed that one particular Boy Crazy card was much more expensive than all the others on eBay. And when he looked into it, it turns out Jason from Colorado owns not a dispensary, but like a grow company. He like
gonna say
helps
He
people grow
feminizes
weed.
his
Computer, maybe?
seeds. He's the one that makes them watch
Yeah.
like
He has
hypno
a
porn
grow.
and
Yeah.
dress up.
And he offered if you bring one of these to him, he will give you a lifetime supply of, in his words in the promotion, feminized marijuana seeds. But thank you to all of our Patreon supporters for purchasing this for me. If I ever go to Colorado, I'm going to try and
hell
cash
yeah.
it in, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Hell yeah. Good for Jason Colorado, or Jason from Colorado. We're not really sure.
Good for
All right, the only thing I think that's more eclectic than this start to this Brainstorm Brewery episode is probably Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Ugh.
Was eclectic on your bingo word of the day thing or something?
No, I just have a large vocabulary. DJ.
I hope those marijuana seeds had a better
That's a-
transition than that.
Corbin, that's a $5 word. You sure you can afford that?
If you go use break in bulk to find your bulk, you can afford $5 words.
I have to dumb down my writing most of the time, and I hate it. Because the ideal writing, like when I do technical writing, is you want to write it like a 4th or 5th grade level. So there are tools.
I just imagine Corbin getting an email from his editor being like, please do not use the word genuflect in your writing anymore.
I've been told that I need to make my writing more simple and straightforward. My sentences need to be less complex.
Dude, some
very boring.
totes happened at the basketball game last night. Right? These bitches were playing and one of them was up like 7 points and then she like rocked a downtown fucking heater from the center line and then someone got up in her business.
That sentence was way too long.
Drama, bro.
I'm straight up not having a good time. I'm like irked, or at least irked adjacent.
Dude, I went to one of them, what are they called? PTA meetings. It was lame, dude. They were just talking about books and stuff, and I'm like, where are the titties?
All right, we got to cast, man. Otherwise, I'm gonna start talking
This
about.
podcast sucks.
Otherwise, I'm gonna start talking
That's how
about.
fourth graders talk.
Otherwise, I'm gonna start talking about Bridgerton.
What is Bridgerton?
Okay. Outlaws at Thunder Junction. How are y'all yeehaw doing?
Well, the set is a lot of yeehaw.
I
That
put on a
seems to
hat.
be-
You guys can't see it, but I put
Yeah.
on a hat for
Thank you,
this
Jason.
episode.
Good. That makes it an Outlaws at Thunder Junction themed episode.
I committed a crime by putting on a hat.
No, Jason, you can't commit crimes to yourself, only to your opponents. Come on, man.
I can commit crimes to myself.
Now,
Don't challenge
not
me.
going.
Don't tell me. Challenge accepted.
I guess if you mind slavers someone, you could commit crimes to yourself, right?
Speaking of Mindslaver,
Uh-huh.
the bonus sheet Mindslaver from this set looks fucking sick nasty.
A lot of
What-
I don't know if
them.
you've seen that one, but
Yeah, this is the set that has like 4 or 5 different set symbols within the main set, right?
Yes.
yeah.
Does that
Where
matter?
is it? There was a.
Does that matter to any of you?
Nah, it's annoying, but like
I-
not more than anything else they've done recently.
Yeah, that's how I
I
look
think
at it.
it's another symptom of. So I think there's two kinds of Magic players now. Those that care a lot about what their cards are worth, and those that care none at all. And I think this continues to make that divide further.
How so? Can
So,
you go ahead and explain.
So pre-COVID era, I think most players had a rough idea of what their binder was worth, what their commander deck was worth,
Yeah.
and what general like if you just put a microphone in somebody's face at a GP and asked like gave them a 5-card list or something from either like a hot list or just standard cards, they'd have a general idea of what those cards are worth. And I think nowadays somebody either knows every card on that list very precisely or none at all, and I think the latter category is getting much larger.
It's too hard to
bec-
keep up. Even I gave up. Imagine if you never
Right.
cared.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, I think that anybody opening, like, you could have somebody open, like, a Mana Drain, an Archive Trap, a Bitter Blossom, a Dust Bowl, and, like a Prismatic Omen or something like that, and ask them to arrange them in order of highest to lowest. And I think most people would get that wrong just because, like, this could have gotten printed 16 times. I don't know, maybe. But, like Bloom Tender's a $5 card, roughly, I think. And
Yeah.
most people, like,
It was
think
40
it's
or
either
50.
40 or what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was both those prices.
Yes.
That's right. It's Pick of the Peak. Tell us what price.
Well, that's why
Did
it's an
Bloom Tender
interesting
peak
game,
at?
right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so like it's harder to look at a single web page of all of the cards in a set and say, oh, these are the Sphinx's revelations and Hallowed Fountains I should look out for, or oh, this is the Croxa and the Uro of the set. I get it. Now it's this was from the Wilds of Eldraine. Most of the cards are the bonus sheet, so like Bitter Blossom and Mystic Study are good, but like the cards from Wilds aren't as good except Soul Cauldron. Everybody kind of knows that one, but from there it's a top like. And this is just from my personal experience dealing with customers at booths and buying collections out in the wild, and that is my lens that I'm looking through this at. Is most players will either say, "I want that card in the booth. Here is my binder. Do the thing," or "Here is a collection tracker list. This is what my collection is worth. I want this percentage. Here you go. Here is the transaction." And there's not as much of in the middle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, agreed, because it all changes much more quickly, therefore it's harder to casually keep up with and misses the average player. And on top of that, there's a million new cards and decks and formats and things coming up for people to care about. I've noticed it recently just pricing cards at the store is that some of the cards that became out, cards obviously prices change, blah, 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 but some of the prices just on things were just wildly out of touch after like 2 months. On things that weren't even necessarily like, oh, it got reprinted and then it dropped. Just wild, crazy price movements over a few months on things that just kind of existed in the same spot, or cards that you'd be worth something. Like DJ said, in my mind, it's like, oh yeah, this is like a $3 to $5 card or something. Even something like Eternal Witness, I think, was one the other day. I was like, wow, this is just I can't even do anything with it, you know. And that
Yeah.
that
Plus,
does
they
not
made
feel-
a kind of a better Eternal Witness some of the time.
yeah, it just yeah, it was interesting. Cards that are basically $1 now, they used to be $3 to $5, and of course $1 being worth less comparatively than it ever was before.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at like things the price at the store or whatever, like Eternal Witness, for instance, is a card I want to have available to people. But when I'm just looking at space and dollars, it doesn't work anymore, right? So it's just kind of
And that was a card we talked about. Hey, they reprint that card every 4 years like clockwork, but don't worry, it always goes right back up to $7.
yeah. I mean, it's impressive that after being reprinted 25 times or whatever, it's still worth $1 to $2 even in some cases.
Speaking of a reprinting that might bring prices down, it would be great if they would reprint Trouble in Pairs with new art. Because that's a $30 card that everybody wants to play, and looks like the cover of a cyber novel from the 80s.
I think that card is wildly overrated, and I think that the discourse around that card is going to overshadow anything about that card's playability.
Well, I thought Black Market Connections was overrated, so clearly I don't know a single thing about EDH.
Wow. Black Market Connections is at least older and scarcer than, than this, but...
Trouble in Pairs came out 40 sets ago. This is not a new card.
That is true.
Just to clarify, so everyone knows, Trouble in Pairs was in Commander, Murders at Karlov Manor. Just
Which
so we're
means
clear.
that the number of sets that have come out since then
Six.
are...
There are 6 set listings between now and then, right? You got Fallout.
Ravnica Clue Edition.
You got Fallout Commander decks. Ravnica Clue Edition. You have Thunder Junction, Big Score, whatever the sheet's called.
Modern Horizons
the-
3.
Horizons 3 spoilers are up.
Assassin's Creed spoilers are up. Bloomborough spoilers are up.
True.
To be fair, like getting 1 or 2 cards from Bloomborough, for instance, is not the same.
But, like, if we're talking about actual, like, if we were to list every single set that has a different designation and a catalog, there's, like, 6 or 7 things since now and then that are, like, have things populated in
It's
it.
been 2 months, just for reference for everybody
Yeah.
at home. Yeah, it's been
Catalog bloat is just, like, a real issue.
Yeah, the
We
way I
make
heard
this
it.
joke... I make this joke a lot. I should get some new material.
Wizards is very good at making new material.
Oh.
They are.
Ing.
Yeah,
What
when
was
I
that
was
noise?
when I was at
Hey, Jason. Can I get a, oh yeah?
Did somebody
I
feminize these
can't.
seeds?
God damn it.
when I was at Chicago at the MagicCon, they were previewing at the preview panel like 4 or 5 different sets all at once, or parts of them, or talking about them, and it just kind of crystallized. That was one stage at one show throughout the year. That is how many sets that they used to print in an entire year. Was 4 to 5 at the high end.
So they
one
had-
of the things to keep in mind while we're talking about the product fatigue is that we haven't changed. We're into Magic. What you understand what I mean? Like, we're still the player who's into Magic and following it. But what Magic is now so much bigger, and it seems that the player base is supporting that many products. So while it is obviously very fatiguing for us, I mean, it must be said that, like, they print more products and there seems to be an audience for them. Now seems like they're also trying to find the limit of that. But
There seems to be an audience for most of them, and as we know, they do design on a backlog, or not a backlog, but they design on a
Delay.
time lag, and they do pivot when it is proven that they should. Like with the Aftermath example, I mean, this Aftermath set from Thunder Junction was supposed to be a Aftermath in the style of March of the Machine, and they have very publicly said, yeah, that set crashed and burned.
Yeah, we
we're
learned.
literally just not going to make the product in the same way. We're just going to put the cards in the product into these other packs in order to distribute them. So like they do change the business model when they have the data that doesn't work, but much like a runaway train in the Wild West, it takes a while to stop when it's going.
Yeah. I like the stuff like Ravnica Clue Edition. If they're going to give us like some new skins of old cards or some new cards, give us 10 at a time. Don't be like, oh, we got to design 350 new cards to come out 2 months after Lord of the Rings. Like, what if they didn't have to do that?
Yeah. We brought up a Wizards making new things. Personally, going back to like the Thunder Junction, I think that the mechanics in these sets are cool. I think that for Fallout, they nailed it. I think that the making creature types relevant that were not relevant ever really before, at least in the last 20 years for Assassin's Creed, is cool. Now, I like the idea of a low-stakes set like Thunder Junction, where it's not everything's all grimdark and terrible all the time. But what I've realized is that most of the complaints against the set seem to be basically stemming from the fact that it feels like Universes Beyond. Then I looked into the fact that I found out Mark Rosewater has said that one of the standard releases a year will be quote-unquote a collab set, like Thunder Junction, which to me does scream, we need more Commander, less regular product. And that's what we get, is a Commander-themed regular set release, basically been stealth converted. That's one way to look at it.
It's just kind of funny to tell like pro players like, look, this is just EDH stuff. It doesn't bother you. And then it's like, oh, by the way, we printed a Doctor Who card that Legacy forever. Or like,
Well,
sorry, an EDH guy designed Orcish Bowmasters. sorry about
it's
your Legacy.
Cool. The Universes Beyond cards don't matter for Legacy because they're never going on to Moto.
well, that's... Or if there's a delay or whatever, right? Or is it just never?
I mean, we got Warhammer, and they said we're never getting Fallout, so who's to say what's good or bad?
Wow.
No Fallout. What about the
It seems to
the
me
one
this
creature
is-
that matters?
I mean, they said the same thing for Warhammer, so who knows? Maybe they're just tempering expectations.
Yeah, my belief is that there's probably contracts about the where the cards are available or whatever.
I'm sure they didn't lay off anybody from the Moto team when they laid off a bunch of people.
Well, they didn't, because Magic Online is run by
Sorry,
Daybreak.
Jason.
Love it or hate it, Thunder Junction is here. I am a little concerned about the limited format, just because there seem to be a lot of very random effects. But
I'm not.
Who knows? Who knows what limited will be like with the play boosters?
Do you know who's the set lead for this?
Who?
Corbin, do you know who the set lead for OTJ is? Can't remember his name.
I don't
Humphreys.
either.
I know his
Dave
name.
Humphreys?
Dave Humphreys of all the best limited formats of all time.
No, that's actually you're right. The end. That's good.
He's
Good
the goat
enough.
of designing limited
You sold me.
formats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I had his name, I just couldn't bring it to the front of my mind for some reason.
There's a couple of people, and this is interesting for listeners of this podcast who haven't played Magic for 20 years. But there's some people, some early strong Magic players. Dave Humphreys being one of them, and there's I don't want to start naming names here because these people were very strong early Magic players. They went to work for Wizards, and some of them still do. They just kind of disappeared into Wizards, and they just quietly turn out the best limited formats and things like that. You don't, when we talk about, oh, this format's great, there's some people who have just made it who love Magic and limited and have made it their life's work, literally, to make, like, drafting and limited fun.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
And so when you're like, X has a track record of this set and this set and this set, you're like, oh yeah, no, sold. Like, I've sat next to drafts with lots of people, and they're like, yeah, this is designed by this person, and it's going to be great, and then it is. So that's good to know.
Someone was talking on Twitter this week about how OTJ looked like a fun limited not OTJ. Outlaws of Thunder Junction, not Onslaught Tournament Judgment, or Odyssey Tournament Judgment.
Yeah.
How it looked like a cool limited format, and someone replied with a screenshot of Dave Humphreys' Twitter bio that had, like, War of the Spark is, like, his crowning achievement for limited sets. He had, like, Ikoria, just like all bangers all the way down.
And sets that they give a lot of their better designers, like, challenging sets, right? So I'm going to guess that internally it was something like, hey, we have to figure out this play booster thing, it's going to make everything different. We
Yeah.
really need our A team on the first set with play boosts.
They'll have
Now,
between 1 and 8
I-
rares.
Yeah,
Good
I know
luck,
they
Limited.
came out with Murders at Karlov Manor, but that was, I think that, we don't know exactly what that was, but this is, I certainly think, a reflection of them wanting to really nail it with the boosters. That's cool.
Sure.
That's great. What is, Jason, you have the Commander take, and here's a standard set that's all Commander. I mean, so what's your take on just sort of the state of things around Thunder Junction?
The thing about Thunder Junction is the popular ones are the ones that are pretty easy to build around, where it's just like, it just tells you what to do. Like,
Extra upkeeps.
Kellen the
Yeah.
Kid. Okay, go to Scryfall, look for stuff that gets cast from somewhere other than your hand. But rebound and, like, get Rog. Sacrifice stuff.
Well, how do you feel about the fact that we just had Commander Legends or Masters or whatever it was?
Did we?
And yeah, you're right. You probably operate, because I can probably check some of these out. But to me, it's like, oh yeah, that was just like last year. But to you, that's like, oh, that was 15.
Oh,
sets.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a thing that was a year ago, I don't even remember. The thing about Thunder
So-
Junction is it was clearly designed kind of aftermathy, because there are so many like legendary characters that get folded back into the set. Means there's a lot of legendary. There are 43 commanders in OTJ, so having that much means you're gonna have some wacky shit, but also if you're not in the top 3, it won't matter, because there's so many commanders. Like, nobody's like, oh, Bristly Bill's gonna make the
But that card's cool.
yeah, the 2 Bristly Bill decks that are on EDH Rack are gonna really drive up the price of some. So like, it sucks, but kind of anymore, you're not gonna get those 25-cent cards that go up to $8 unless you like predict what is gonna do well on game nights. There's so much product. There's so many different people making content. There's so many different people who just don't participate in registering their decks online. There's just a lot of stuff that makes it really confounding.
Yeah.
So while this is a 43 legend set, and certainly the big ones like Kellen and Get Rog Monster and that kind of stuff are, obviously gonna be worth it. Tiny Bones is the number 1 right now, and it doesn't even have any new cards in it.
Well,
It was all old Tiny Bones that's gonna go back up.
I will say that I think that even with 43 Legends and with the avalanche of different products and unique things they have come out with over the past few years, they have continued to find ways to print cards that are still very, very new design space. So
Sure.
the main one that comes to mind for me, and the card that made I got 5 Twitter DMs asking for Paradox Haze over the past weekend.
Oh, Becca, baby.
Extra upkeeps, baby.
And like the phrase extra upkeeps or additional upkeeps is not something we have ever seen on a Magic card before. We've seen plenty of extra combat, we've seen a few extra main phases. We have never seen extra upkeeps outside of, well, Paradox Haze. And now we have a thing that does just that. And I mean, you're right, it is very streamlined, and it tells you exactly what to do. It is a easy bake oven of do this thing with this commander, search this keyword, and it'll build itself. But that's still going to a lot of people are going to want to be the first to the gold rush of doing that thing and doing that thing for the first time.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you look at the last Obeka, unless you had those Final Fortunes, you weren't getting them. You order them, the order gets canceled. You're not like drop shipping them. So EDH finance has changed so much. Obeka was the last card where I really tried to okay, let's go to an LGS that like isn't even on Google and try to find Final Fortunes in their old binder. And it just that's not a thing anymore. Everybody's just on top of it, and people were building Obeka wrong because nobody read the card and knew how the rules worked. It was just a kerfuffle, and people made some money if they already had, Final Fortune and the whatever
Sundial.
artifact ends the turn, that kind of.
Yeah.
But if you were trying to go out and get it, it just wasn't going to work out. So I kind of feel that way this time around. If you are the person selling Paradox Hazes, that you bought from me 6 months ago, then you're in great shape. But if you sold yours 6 months ago, maybe wait a couple months to buy them, because like Obeka's going to make that stuff spike in the short term, but Obeka does not have the kind of sustained demand that is going to keep it. Obeka's like the 19th most popular commander right now. And I mean, the set isn't even out yet. I get that. But like also, 250 people have brewed a Tiny Bones deck based on nothing more than just seeing Tiny Bones' art. So,
you know what causes commander cards to have a lot of demand? Is when they're played in formats where you can play with multiple copies of them.
yeah, that's why the commander cards that do have multiple copies are always valuable.
Well, I'm not talking about things like Slime Against Humanity. I'm talking about the fact that if you go to Scryfall and you type in like text or Oracle Legend Legal Standard, there are 45 cards that reference legends in their text box, including lands that were supposed to rotate. There is a deck in Standard that plays Relic of Legends and Slogurk, and was previously playing the 1-mana Ashnod. Tiny Bones, wildly huge improvement. When there are 43 legends in a set, a bunch of which are cheap legends, cards like the lands from Kamigawa, which are already expensive, pop. Cards like Relic of Legends might pop. Slogurk deck is probably messed up. How expensive does Plaza of Heroes get when there are 40 fucking legends a set? Right?
Yeah.
Those are the questions
That's one
I'm
of those
asking,
keyword
because,
abilities where it's identity based. So like the ability doesn't matter. Anything can fall into that category. That's why typal stuff.
And so when a
well,
card,
yeah.
when a card is both interesting for Commander and any other format, that card's gonna have a ton of pressure on it, right? Like, Kethis probably starts seeing play in Modern at some point. There probably has to be some point where we have a high enough density of powerful legendary creatures to play Kethis again.
Kethis is fun.
Something like that is really compelling to me.
Yeah.
Even cards that kind of are weak, like
Mox Amber came out 6 years ago, and everybody laughed.
Yeah.
Everybody laughed when Mox Amber came out, and I mean...
Oh my god, there were
remember,
so many opportunities to make so much money on Mox Amber.
And I don't remember exactly what any of us said about Mox Amber on its preview, because we've all been doing this 100 years, but I'm sure that some of us at some point said, you know what, they'll eventually make enough legends to make it good, just like every other Mox before it, and...
I will say that James Chilcott's opinion about Mox Amber never changed. I was like, this card could be good. He's like, it'll probably be worth some money. And I was like, oh, this card sucks. He's like, it'll probably be worth some money. And I'm like, this card's getting played a little bit more. He's like, it's worth money. And I was like, this card's getting played less. He's like, it's worth money. So as many times as I second, third, and fourth guessed myself about Mox Amber, some people were just like, it says Mox in the name.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be the first time where that doesn't matter.
Yeah, the heuristic hasn't been wrong yet.
Yeah.
Well, it was for Lotus.
One card I want...
Sorry, I keep stepping on Cass.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
It's fine. I'm not assertive today. I was sick all week, so I'm just kind of trying to, like, sneak in.
Please, can I have a word in
One card I
edgewise
wanna
on my
mention-
own podcast?
Yeah. One card I want to pull out, or mention specifically, is Forsaken Miner, which is a 1-mana 2/2 that can't block. This is whenever you commit a crime, you may pay black. If you do, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield. Notably, Goblin Bombardment in this commits a crime. Altar of Dementia in this commits a crime.
So we're committing
So it comes,
crimes
like,
against
one black-
minors?
With the miners.
That's worse, right?
With the miners.
The miners are committing the crimes.
Oh.
Well, they're accomplices. It's like a kid heist. It's like all the kids are getting together and we're stealing candy from, I don't know, man.
Really, it's a movie. Yeah, we've all seen that.
Yeah.
It's like a Spy Kids.
Oh, Blood Artist.
It's Spy Kids.
They didn't steal
Blood Artist
candy
also
in
figures
Spy
it fine.
Kids.
Outlaws of Thunder Junction, brought to you by, directed by,
Machete.
No.
who's Robert Rodriguez? Is that his name?
Yeah, I couldn't think of it either. I was
can't
like,
remember
don't put me
names
on the...
today.
Yeah. I was just thinking about Desperado this week.
Yeah.
And how hot Salma Hayek is. Woo.
So, one of the cards that I have long sung the praises of, that I think might finally get to pop with this, is based off of... Actually, you know what? I'm going to save it for my pick of the week. Never mind, forget I said anything.
DJ didn't say
I'm just
anything.
Okay.
Let's break some bulk.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
All of our picks come to you, as a reminder, from mtgstocks.com, the number one source on the internet for all of your Magic financial news. But it's not just the number one source for all of your Magic financial news, because there is actually an entire family of stocks websites. That includes LRC stocks, Yu-Gi-Oh stocks, Flesh and Blood stocks, Pika stocks for all your Pokemon, and very soon, Star Wars TCG stocks.
Oh, also you missed one.
Stocks.com.
Pika stocks for people that eat cigarette butts and dirt.
Speaking of SWU stocks, which is actually up at the time I'm recording this, I just logged on and I found a Star Wars limited card that I think is worth picking up. So this is a secret pick of the week for a different game that I'm sneaking in here.
Death Star play
don't
is
have them yet,
very
you should
secret.
You should get your U-Wing reinforcements. Market price on this one, trending upwards. You can find playsets for as low as $7, and it is secretly the best of the Command heroic cards in the game, in my humble opinion. Also very good in a Han deck splashing Command, so jot that down. Anyways, my Breaking Bulk.
Sucks, though.
Han's good. What are you talking
Han
about?
sucks.
Han lets you play a 7-drop on turn 3.
How about I don't like playing those colors?
That's fine.
I'm a 12-year-old
okay?
Star Wars player. That's the best part. Like, I've been playing Magic forever. I've learned nothing I can, like...
Han Solo is just Amulet Titan, the deck. It's fine.
It's fine.
Anyways, my Breaking Bulk is a black Shadowmoor common.
It has Wither. 2-drop with Wither.
Is it
Or Persist. The
Virulent
goblin,
Wisps?
the goblin with Persist.
No,
What set's it from again?
Shadowmoor Common.
Shadowmoor.
It's got either Persist or Wither.
Those are the set's mechanics.
But there's like a 2/2.
Hybrid mana too.
Is
this
Memory
only black?
Sluice?
Blue.
It's not Memory
Is
Sluice.
it blue-black? Like a blue-black hybrid?
It's a... All the characteristics I have said are true. It is a black common from Shadowmoor.
Fate Transfer.
There may be other characteristics.
Understood. Jason says Fate Transfer.
Maybe. There might also not be.
Oh my goodness.
I'm giving you what I am required to. I'm here to win.
Why are you...
Fate Transfer.
There are no points!
It's not Fate Transfer.
I said Fate Transfer.
It's not.
I was trying to reiterate your point because I didn't know she heard you.
No, she already
heard
said
you.
very
Something about-
condescendingly that it
something
wasn't.
about unblocked creatures or
I.
that one.
You all have guessed the entire file at this point.
No,
Can I call my W?
Maybe
Ravens
like 10 seconds.
I
Ravens
named it. I named it.
Crime.
Raven's Crime is Eventide.
It's Eventide.
I just want to commit a crime.
Is it Corrupt?
Nope. This card does commit a crime, actually. It is Fairy Macabre.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was from
Fairy
that.
Macabre went down below bulk size. It was just like true bulk for a while because it got
Yep.
reprinted so many times.
Yeah.
And by so many times, I mean it was printed in Shadowmoor, Modern Masters 1, and then the Garrett vs. Leona dual deck and the reprint of it. Card has relatively low supply. Copies are selling of the Shadowmoor for about $3 on direct and $1 otherwise. Pick them out of your bulk, sell them. The Garrett vs. Leona ones, the anthology one has a buy list of $4 to Card Kingdom. So if you have those, sell those. That is an algorithm problem.
There you go. All right. DJ, why don't you go ahead next? What are you looking at?
I'm gonna double check what set mine is from. I have a Core Set 2019 Uncommon Enchantment.
A Johnny's.
I'm not gonna give you the color because I think that gives you
A Johnny's mantra.
no.
Dawn of
That
419
is
have like Psy
so
and
many
stuff.
ways.
Abiding Grace.
No,
Is it the Garrick's one?
no,
Is it the Chandra's one?
no.
Is it the Mill one?
Yes.
The Jace's one?
Psychic Corrosion.
It doesn't have Jason in the name, but yes,
the
you all guessed it as a
three mana
team.
card.
It's like-
Yeah, good work.
I want you to guess the price on this card.
$3.
$4.
$5.
Direct low is 12.
I'm closest.
Holy shit!
What's the name for everyone at home, DJ?
Psychic Corrosion.
That's direct, though. This isn't a real price.
I said that.
Wait, Jason.
Yeah, no, I
Jason.
understand.
You want the regular market price? How about 9?
Wow.
See, that's not 12.
Someone played this against me on Arena the other day in Historic, which is why I thought of this one. That's funny.
That card costs so much more than $9 on Arena.
This was this was a win condition for a very hot minute in Standard. There was a mill deck floating around back then.
Direct low right now is 16. If you cancel out direct and everything, regular TCG low is 7. Market price is 9. This card is worth a lot of money. It is better than Sphinx's Revelation or Sphinx's Tutelage because it hits everybody. It does not commit a crime on your opponent. You don't pick one person. It is 1 card equals 6 technically. 1 draw equals 6 mil.
This is Jesus. This was a
the card's
this was a
worth a lot of
$2 card a year ago.
Yeah. I mean, when was the last time somebody opened a Core 2019 booster pack?
Yeah, exactly. If something catches in the...
When was the last time?
We talked about this a little earlier, but like the discoverability of cards is so much worse than it used to be. So the idea of like looking at a card and saying, "Oh, this card is good. Therefore it will go up eventually because people will discover it," is just not true. Conversely, the cards that do get discovered get just run through every algorithm everywhere, and this is how you end up with massive. We talked about this before. How you end up with massive direct premiums. But it's more than just the direct premiums. It's once it starts showing up and everything, well, then that's what is on the EDH rec page. It's what people build for the deck, and it's reading and actually discovering cards can be kind of difficult.
So I also want to tack on one little thing at the end here, and that is about how direct works in the fee structure. So the fee breakdown for a card going from $3 to $5, the fees don't really change much at all. So you'll see a lot of direct sellers, if you buy through a TCG direct frequently, you'll see a lot of sellers price up to $2.99, and their next pricing threshold is like 5 or 6. That is because they make a very small marginal, like you make like $1.50 if you sell a $2.99 card, and you make like $3.65 if you sell like a $6 card or something. So you get a small amount of money for that. So what happens with that is when you have a lot of listings at the $2.99-ish rate, and then those all disappear, the card jumps fast because there's not a whole lot of people selling it at the 5 to 6 range, and then there's fewer people selling it at the $8. So like once you run out of those $3 copies, that is a very big dam that just breaks. So yeah, Jason's right. The card was $3 for like years, and then once those run out, you have the $6 and $7 copies. You don't have this gradual increase from 3 to 4 over a year. It just goes like fire.
Interesting.
I've got a super old uncommon that probably is experiencing all the same pressure.
Let's hear it.
This card is from Future Sight, and it is uncommon.
Go on.
Paradox Haze?
That would be funny, but no.
What is
It is not blue. Paradox Haze was the other.
It's Time Spiral proper, I think.
No, the other one.
You said this
color
is Future
51.
Sight? The Black Madness card that returns things.
No. This is
Rebels in Future Sight?
quadrupled in price in the last
It must be a
year.
mercenary.
Paradox Haze was Time Spiral proper, just to be clear.
It was? Oh, okay.
Oh wait, Sir Mercadian Masks something with rebels or mercenaries.
Arcadia.
Oh, is it the...
Future Sight
Kateran
had
summons?
Future Sight had rebels, I think. It's not
I think
Kateran
It had a
summons.
Rebel Searcher.
It's not summons.
I don't know the names of other Mercadian Mask rebels.
I don't know the rebels either.
It's not a rebel.
It's a mercenary.
It's not a creature.
the-
It is white, and it is an uncommon card.
Is it
So-
the enchantment?
Oh, it's the Aura
pacifism
mercenary.
rebel?
Yeah, it's the mercenary aura.
No. This is a $7 card.
White
All right,
uncommon from Future
yeah,
Sight?
white-
Well,
The
no, he said
previous-
masks, didn't he?
No. I did not
They
say
said
masks.
No, Future
He
Sight.
said masks.
Future Sight.
I thought you were
You
guessing. You were like, are there rebels in Future Sight? And I was like, I think there were 1 or 2. It had the first tribal spell in it.
So it's a so the card actually is a white uncommon.
A
from
white
Future
uncommon.
Sight. And we
from
do not
Future
know that
Sight.
it is in fact related to Rebels or Mercenary.
And it's quadrupled in price over the last year.
Periphery notes.
It's not a creature.
Periphery notes is right.
Is it the suspend thing that, like, it's like the Teferi Doctor Who thing where, like, it does something, then it goes away for 3 turns, and it comes back for free, and goes away for 3
I don't
turns?
remember.
Chronomantic
enduring-
escape with 3
No.
suspend. Until your next turn, creatures can't attack you.
So,
Remove
is
it
that
from
right?
the game with 3
Yeah.
time counters on it.
Okay.
That's the
Woo!
one.
Kinda got there.
I was gonna guess the Oromancer.
What's
Well,
it called,
this
Jason?
is Chronomatic escape.
I did not
This
realize.
is a Doctor
it
Who
was that
thing,
much.
right?
No, this was Future Sight.
Well,
Yes.
the card jumped because of Doctor Who.
Yes, DJ. It
It's
did. All of
jumped
these
again
cards
because
jumped.
of Kellen, I would think. But yeah.
Ooh, this card's sweet.
The
Everything
face
that
of
was
Bo, and then any doctor with a white companion or white in the color identity is playing this.
Everything
Gandalf's
that-
playing it. It's fun.
Everything that was in the inspiring refrain cycle, whether you call it a cycle or not, but like that family of cards, they all jumped with Doctor Who because they're sweet. You get it like every other turn, if not more, on something like that. Okay, I will wrap it up this week with a green uncommon from Lord of the Rings. Talisman alert.
Rosie Cotton.
No.
There are 700 cards from Lord of the Rings, F6.
Green uncommon.
This is a normal base
One of the
version,
parents.
Nothing weird. No.
One of the Marys.
No.
One of the Sams.
No, it's not a hobbit.
One of the Frodos.
It's
not,
not
a
a
hobbit.
It's an elf.
It's not a
isn't it?
creature.
It's not a creature. Green. Is it have the ring tempts you on it in its
No.
text box?
It does not.
We're just playing Guess Who at this point.
But like this is
I feel like
this
there's a
re-
sorcery that finds elves or something.
No. This is a real card though, people. This is more than $1.
Yeah, it's more than $1. We're not. It's not going to be a
it's
good
it's a-
card.
It is a good card.
It's gonna be a playable
commander
card.
This is a commander staple. But better.
What could be better than a commander staple? Is it mono green?
Yes. It's a good card. You'll like it when I tell you.
Is it a land
Tree folk?
thing?
It is tree folk themed.
Oh, it's the Entish
There you
end
go.
card. Entish Restoration.
Yep, Intish Restoration. It's a Haro, except with upside. It's a 3-mana instant. Sacrifice a land, search for 2 basics. Put them on the battlefield. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, instead search your library for 3 basics. Put them onto the battlefield.
Kind of a banger.
Yeah, Dish Restoration more than
It was a
$1,
sicko
$3-4
set.
foil. Yeah, and I went and looked. This is the most expensive, non-fancy or weird uncommon that isn't also like obvious, like Reprieve or whatever, right?
Sure.
Yeah, all in all, Dish Restoration is a very solid pick that you will want to make out of.
Guess how many legendary creatures were in the set Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle Earth?
70?
69.
Between the commander set and the regular set.
It's
were
a crime to
100
guess
240.
125.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's more people than were
lot.
than worked on the movie.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, were you there?
I heard it was a very large number.
Yeah,
I was there, actually.
That's that Hollywood accounting where they're like, "Oh, you got 10% of profit, but we didn't make any money."
Yeah.
Actually, I was actually in the movie. I said the titular line.
I wasn't
Lord of the
real. I
Rings,
didn't
the
realize
Two Towers.
that Lord
Cass
of the
was the
Rings, the Two
narrator.
Towers had a titular line.
It's
Yeah,
damn,
so I
those
was
towers are big.
I was riding on the eagles to Mordor. I was holding on to their feathers. I said, "Gosh, I sure am tired of all these Lord of the Rings." and Two
Shadowfax
Towers."
wasn't a Shadowfax machine; it was a horse. Did you even see the movie?
Yeah, I was in. I said the titular line.
I just am sick of all these Two Towers.
What Bin
Too
Laden
soon,
said.
Jason.
Come on, man.
Allah
My,
Akbar.
my sandcastle did 9/11.
I mean, there was a orc with like a fiery torch running toward a bomb under the Two Towers. Like, we're just supposed to forget that smug
We're
New
never
Zealand
supposed to
bastard
forget.
did that.
Upset
I don't think so.
It was an Urukai.
I'm like, I'm not going to see any of his movies anymore. And then he made a movie about a giant city that was a car. And I was like, all right, I'll see one more movie.
Over the weekend, I covered the Arena Championship, which was the Explorer format, which for those of you who don't follow Arena, I won't blame you for not knowing what Explorer is. What you should know about it is that it is sort of like Pioneer, question mark. The vision is for Arena to one day have Pioneer, from what I understand. Explorer is what they have until they get there. It does not have all of the decks in Pioneer. So from the Pro Tour last month, there was no Lotus Field, for instance, available to the players playing Explorer on Arena. However, what there was available was Rakdos Vampires. Rakdos Vampires, the same deck that crushed the Pro Tour, dominated this format again above anything else. The event was actually won by Is It Phoenix because Treasure Cruise is still broken. But if you're kind of curious, just this is not a perfect look into Pioneer, but it is a little bit of a look into what Pioneer looks like now coming off of that. And it's still vampires all over the place. Vein Ripper.
So, the thing about the Vampires deck is the same thing that was kind of going on with Mono Black Devotion and Standard, where it doesn't really matter what your deck is doing as long as it's like reasonably proactive and you have Thoughtseize and Mutavault in your deck. People do not realize just how good both... People realize how good Thoughtseize is, but Mutavault is actually like kind of the secret sauce where you have so much game against the control decks because of it, and also you get this really cool synergy piece in Sorin. The Vampires deck was like close before Vein Ripper. Honestly, even before Blood Tithe Harvester, it was close the whole time. And it just got like 2 or 3 really, really relevant tools. Fabled Mirror Breaker, obviously, being another great mid-range card.
Well, yeah, Fables.
I'm not surprised to see that deck still doing well. And Phoenix, obviously, when you get to play 16 cantrips in your deck, your plan is proactive and recursive, and you also get to play Treasure Cruise. Like, it's hard to imagine a deck doesn't win, you know?
They've said that Pioneer is going to be the home of Delve cards. I don't see Treasure Cruise making it another year and a half.
Dig Through Time is, like, perfect for the format. Treasure Cruise... It's on the edge.
It's just the thing that always is that every single guy. I haven't watched a ton of Phoenix now over the past month. All these Phoenix games come down to everyone did a thing, they did a thing, did a thing. Now it's turn 4, and can they set up their Treasure Cruise? Can they draw a Treasure Cruise? There's a Treasure Cruise. The game's over. Nope, no Treasure Cruise. They can't get it's just wild how that card just takes over formats, even without fetch lands. So.
And you know, speaking of Mutavault, that's actually my pick of the week this week.
Oh,
is
hype.
Mutavault.
Look at that. The synergy and planning we did there.
Yeah, not even planned, purely accidental, pure luck.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Mutavault is my pick of the week, and the card has a bunch of printings and is already kind of creeped up in price, but we're on like week 1 of the Pioneer RCQ season, and if anything in the format is getting banned during the season, it's going to be Phoenix. Probably won't during the season, but it might. If that happens, Vampires becomes, in my opinion, the best deck by a lot. I think it's already pretty close to the best deck. It's, if not actually the best deck. And Mutavault is a card that does not take a lot of pressure of people buying 4-ofs for it to creep up in price. This is kind of your, like, get yours now.
Great pick. Yeah. This, you're right. This is it was just reprinted. I say just a couple years ago. The last reprint, it looks like, in Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, and it has climbed a little bit over the past few months. So I think you're right. It's gonna keep going because we talked earlier about the power 4-ofs, right? And Mutavault, whether it's, I don't know if it's a 4-of in every build, depending on colorless sources, etc. But in almost every deck, Mutavault goes and it's a 4-of, and it's extremely powerful.
Right.
Love that pick. All right, I'll hop in next because there's a reasonable chance I might preempt DJ, I think. We were talking about extra upkeeps.
Oh, no, my pick's not even close.
Okay, good. You know what's better than extra upkeeps? An entire extra beginning phase, including, how about an untap and a draw step? And that's what you can get at a Sphinx of the Second Sun, which was originally a mythic when printed in Commander Legends, and it was about $5. It has been reprinted now in Commander Murders at Karlov Manor and as a bulk rare.
Because
It's a
it's
50
not
cent.
good. Because people don't know how it works.
That is true. I
You
can
get
tell
an additional main phase after which your turn ends.
Yeah, that is correct. You do not get to attack. You don't get a yeah.
You do not get another combat and post-combat main phase.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's got me. But hey, the card is sweet, and if people are building upkeep cards, I mean, it might not go anywhere because it's just got this reprint. But on the other hand, it might creep its way back up to $2 or $3 and return you a lot off of a bulk rare pickup right now. Jason, what do you got?
What card did you say, Corbin? Doesn't that have white in its color identity?
No?
It has
Is
the
it
words
mono
of the
blue?
second. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. I thought that was a blue. I thought that was an Esper colored thing for some reason.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
No,
if
no,
it's
no.
mono blue, it goes right in Obeka decks. I suppose I could have checked to see if anyone's built an Obeka deck yet, but they haven't. You know what people are building, though?
Yeah.
Kellen the Kid.
Kellen the Kid.
Second most popular commander in the set,
Wait,
and
Jason, before
What?
you do this whole thing, I do have a question because how does that work? Because these commanders have been live on EDHREC for a couple days, right? How are there no decks at all?
maybe daily takes a little while to run. I think daily takes more than 24 hours to run at this point.
Okay, that was just my question because
It's just
I'm
a lot
picking
of
card-
yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had more insight into the hang-ups in that area, but it's not my area of expertise at all.
No, that's fine because I'm picking a card that I think is going to be very popular based on a commander, but it has 0 decks. But I think it will be popular once it's possible to build for it. So that's
Yeah,
my question.
well, being ahead of that helps too. Because if
Yeah.
other people are relying on EDH and you got to jump on it, that's good info also. Okay,
Continue.
should I keep going?
Yeah, sorry.
I like Kellen the Kid. I like the fact that it lets you play stuff Cascade and Rebound and stuff like that. It's very cool. That's where Chronomantic Expanse actually came from. But there's a card that enables you to play basically everything from somewhere other than your hand, and that card is the Reality Chip. Reality Chip's price cap is around $3.50, $4, and it's down a little bit from that. It hasn't gotten reprinted. It's a very cool card. It's legendary. It's an equipment, but also a jellyfish. It has a lot going for it. It's a card that lets you cheat at Magic. You throw an equipment on your stuff, and then you can play lands and spells from the top of your deck. That's rad. With Kellen out, it's better than rad. So I like the Reality Chip a lot. That is a $5 card.
All right,
Yeah.
I like it. All right,
I
DJ, wrap it up this week. What are you looking at?
So this is a pick that is very near and dear to my own heart. It is something that I have spec'd on for maybe close to a decade now, and I think we
Okay.
finally got the commander for it.
Okay.
So I have always been a fan of picking cards that do not have a use case in the moment. They do technically nothing. Restore Balance was always a big one of mine. Necrotic Ooze, stuff like that, where you're just waiting for the combo pieces to be designed down the pipeline. Iriette the Beguiler, I think I got her name correctly. Whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to that aura, you gain control of that permanent. So you equip their stuff with Eldrazi Conscription, and then you steal it as the effect. Or whatever you are putting on their things, you mind. All your stuff becomes mind control. I love me some aura swap. That is a mechanic that was also designed in Future Sight. It swaps an aura. There is only one card printed with aura swap, and it is Arcanum Wings. This is a 1 and a blue for just to give something flying. It just jumps it. But if you pay 2 and a blue, you can swap it with any aura in your hand. So what you do with this is you give their creature flying, tell them to go nuts with it, whatever. But you will always just at the last possible moment, if they decide to turn their sights on you, you can just pay 2 and a blue, swap it for an Eldrazi Conscription, some other crazy 7-mana aura, some nonsense thing with Iriette in play, and then now you suddenly have stolen their creature at instant speed that they cannot use a counterspell on. And so, Arcanum Wings is 25 cents. I am about to go buy a bunch of copies because this is just a very big pet card of mine. But I think we finally have the commander for it, where you can just put Arcanum Wings on something and just have a lot of fun just aura swapping shenanigans, and then you put it on, and then it goes back to your hand, so you can put it on something else, and Iriette will hopefully have a lot of fun with that. Arcanum Wings is 25 cents. I think this should be like a $2 to $3 card. It is from, again, Future Sight, basically no printings. This is one of those moments where I think this card will shine. And as an added bonus to this, there are no Ariat decks uploaded to EDH Rec yet, so there is no data that suggests what you should play with this commander quite yet. This was just previewed a couple days ago, so there will be data soon. But right now, there is no easy bake oven way to just go to Ariat's page on EDH Rec and have you be told what you should be building with.
You could go to Archidect and kind of poke around, but like the people that rely on EDH Rec to get the data, it's going to be a few days, and you're going to have a heads up on them, I think.
Yeah, so I am putting my big red rubber stamp on this one. I am buying a bunch more Arcanum Wings. I own a lot somewhere. I don't know where they went, but it is one of those that I have been very, very a big fan of for the past 10 years, and I think it's time.
All right, I hope so.
Let's buy it
that's
out,
a sweet one.
Brew Crew. Let's make it happen. Let's self-fulfill
Fucking
that
go.
prophecy.
Well, I'll tell
Been a
you,
while
it is
since we
time.
did it.
It is time for us to get out of here this week. We want to give a final shout out to a sponsor, Coalesce Apparel and Design, the best place for all of your Magic merch needs. You can use the gift code Brainstorm Brewery, get 10% off. 10% off anything in the store, not just our gear. So use that gift code Brainstorm Brewery at Coalesce Apparel and Design. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to Brainstorm Brewery this week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.